When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
You know, it is back to school time. Did your kids go back last week? Are they going back this week? We will have coverage of the kids going back to school in elementary and high schools a little later on in the program. But there's another aspect of back to school. You know, the university students, the college kids that are returning to Montreal for their classes. Now, there's one thing on their school list that many still don't have: an apartment. Housing groups dedicated to helping the student population find a place to live say it's becoming increasingly difficult as the housing crunch leads to more demand for fewer affordable units. You know, you may remember this from your days, right? In college or university. If you lived on your own, if you were paying your own bills, how much you spent on your apartment really did matter. Laurent Levesque is executive director of UTILE, a nonprofit that builds affordable housing for students. Laurent, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning, Elia.
Let's talk about your organization, UTILE. Is it solely based on building the housing or finding the housing? Tell me what you do.
Yeah, what we do is really making more affordable housing available for students, and the way we do that is we build new construction. We don't want to just take existing housing stock and reserve it for students. That's part of the problem that got us here in the first place, is that the students are competing for very limited housing stock on the open market. So our mission is to build more communities, affordable communities for students. Currently, we're housing about 300 students in our first two buildings in Quebec. Mm-hmm. We have multiple more underway. And I think it's worth mentioning that this whole idea of affordable student housing, that the nonprofit I run, was founded by students 10 years ago. So we're really trying to change this problem by and for students.
And the buildings that you have, is it kind of like dorm style living? Like, what is the setup, and maybe how much does it cost to live in one of your buildings?
That's a very good question. One of the first things we did when we started this project 10 years ago was consult students over what they wanted in terms of student housing for the 21st century, and the first thing that came was not dorms. So the housing we build is really standard housing. People can have a studio, they can have a 2-bedroom apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment, but there will always be their own kitchen, their own bathroom. It's really more like a traditional housing model, the one that the vast majority of students are already letting on the private market as tenants. So we're trying to emulate that, and we're trying to make it as affordable as possible. Right now, depending on the neighborhood and the city, our projects are 10 to 30% below market. Gotcha. One of the benefits of our model is, since we're not for profit, we also increase rents as little as possible. So we're also planning for future affordability and preventing those apartments from being speculatively priced.
You said you've got two buildings. Where are the buildings? Are they in Montreal? Somewhere else in Quebec? Where are the buildings?
Yeah, so our first two buildings are in Montreal. We have the Woodnote project that's located just across from Parc La Fontaine, pretty nice location on Papineau Street. And we have another building that just finished construction this summer called Rose des Vents in Rosemont neighborhood, in the Eco neighborhood, Angus over there. And we have a project that's under construction in Quebec City right now that's going to house over 260 people, and multiple other projects in other cities and in Montreal as well.
With Laurent Levesque, executive director of UTILE, it's a nonprofit that builds affordable housing for students. Think of all those university students that need a place to live as they do their studies. So, Laurent, what are you seeing right now then? Like, are you fully booked and people are coming to you, I need a place, and you can't help them? What are you seeing?
Yeah, it's very bad right now because both us and the university's residence halls, for example, have been fully booked for a while now. There's waiting lists in many buildings. So we're seeing people that are coming into Montreal looking for a place to live, and especially for those first-year students, those out-of-town students that are coming to Montreal in August and late August, sometimes stretching it. There's just very limited availability right now on the rental market. And when they look to find apartments, the only apartments that are available right now are extremely cost prohibitive. Mm-hmm. So what we're looking to at a barrier to access to education for some people. If they can't find a place to live, they might have to postpone or forgo their whole study project.
So, Laurent, let me ask you this, right? So you're a student, you're outpriced of everything, right? You can't find what are these students doing? Are they renting couches? Like, how are they getting by?
Well, there's the traditional solutions that have worked for a couple of generations. Like flat sharing. That has always been a solution that students use to reduce rent, personal rent. Mm-hmm. We still see that occurring. We see a lot of students using that as a cost-saving measure. Of course, on the other hand, a lot of landlords have figured this out and are pricing larger apartments at a price per bedroom that is the equivalent of living alone. And so they can rent a 4-bedroom apartment at $3,000, $4,000, and obviously they're making a lot of money. So that solution is getting harder to use, and it's also been pricing out families from the rental market. But that still happens. And the other things that we see are people, resorting to creative solutions, renting out a temporary accommodation, going much farther out too. We're seeing students move further away from campuses until they can find affordability. Basically, drive until you qualify, except that most of them don't have cars, so it's going to be a bus until you qualify.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of people work more or go more into debt as well. And all of that is pretty preoccupying in terms of their ability to pursue studies and actually succeed.
So let me throw something out there, right? Because, there's a housing crisis for everybody, right? So do you ever have a worry, like if you've got a building that you run that's geared for students, and now you've got projects to have another building that, if you take these or you build these units or you purchase, these buildings and it's for student housing, aren't you sometimes worried, oh, geez, I'm taking away lodging from families?
No, it's actually the exact opposite. One of the reasons we stress the importance of the student housing shortage, and one of the reasons all orders of government have supported the affordable solutions we develop, it's that what we're seeing students that currently, because they lack dedicated student housing, are competing with families on the private rental market. And because of that flat sharing, if you look at, for example, Montreal's inner boroughs, you'll see that about 1 out of 3 large apartments that could be housing families is housing student flat share. So if we really want to make some of that housing stock available for the broader population, we need to repair what I think is a historical mistake of having forgotten student housing for decades in Montreal and in Quebec, where we've been building barely any dedicated student housing at the same time as we were attracting an increasing amount of out-of-province international students. So we have been inflating the student housing demand, but not building, and this is how we got here in the first place, where students are occupying such a big chunk of the private rental stock. So building more student housing frees up space for families and others.
Laurent, it's an excellent point you're making here at the end of this interview. We've made such a focus on Montreal as a university city, and our universities are our little gems, our jewels, whether
Absolutely.
It's McGill, Concordia, UQAM, UDM, and then we don't have places for these students to live. Laurent, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Have a great day.
That's Laurent Levesque, Executive Director of UTILE. It's a nonprofit that builds affordable housing for students.